and gentlemen, and welcome back to PLDT Enterprise #One with you, the virtual learning series. This is Joy Hila from PLDT Enterprise Public Sector Group, and I will be your host for this time. This session aims to provide solutions to ensure business continuity. For those who have joined us previously on Wednesday and Thursday, yesterday, we have posted all the materials already in the chat group. So please feel free to get them from the chat group. And now to officially start the program, please welcome Arlon Carrera, Business Development Manager for Cloud Infrastructure. Thank you.
So good morning everyone. I'm Arlen Carrera and I'm handling the cloud infrastructure business of EPLDT. So today I'll be discussing Microsoft Azure, focusing on business continuity and disaster recovery. So my agenda for this presentation is first an introduction of the partnership between EPLDT and Microsoft. Then I'll be proceeding with an overview of Azure, the benefits of going cloud for your BCDR, and then leveraging on an Azure for your BCDR needs. And then finally I'll top it off with EPLDT offers for our clients. So EPLDT is a cloud solutions provider of Microsoft way back since 2016, since Microsoft launched the CSP partnerships. So we're actually a partner of the year of Microsoft for 2017, and we're a Microsoft Gold partner as well for managing cloud infrastructure. So Azure is actually a platform that provides computing power to the end users. So you could actually create virtual servers, virtual machines, or virtual storage wherein you could implement or deploy your applications. So on top of these infrastructure, of course, there are platforms available on top of these infrastructure to help you out with managing the data that you've put inside the infra. So for example, if you need analytics for those data, if you need to integrate the data to another application, there are existing tools inside Azure that will help you with that. So there are 58 Azure regions globally. So currently, there's no public Azure region in the Philippines. And the nearest public region is in Singapore. But EPLDT actually invested in an Azure platform inside our Vitra data center. So it's inside our flagship data center, which is in Vitro Makati. So if you haven't been to Vitro Makati, there's actually a virtual tour that we could share to you later on. So of course, with deploying Azure inside the Philippines, there are different benefits that we could extend to our clients. So first one is data sovereignty. So in terms of the data that you put into the cloud, so there are certain regulations or policies wherein you could not actually bring that data outside the Philippines. So by deploying in our Azure stack, you actually comply or adhere to those policies. So because you don't bring the data out, so it stays inside the Philippines, specifically in Vitro Makati. So next one is of course latency and performance. Since the data doesn't need to go out the country, so the latency is much better as compared to deploying it in global cloud providers. And if your customers are actually inside the Philippines, it will provide a better experience for them too when they access the workload or the application that you deployed in our Azure stack. It is also consistent and connected. So it means that the actual look and feel of the Azure inside the EPLDT's premise looks exactly the same as Azure globally. So the user interface and the look and feel is actually exactly the same if you compare the public cloud as compared to our Azure stack. So it looks exactly the same. So if you already have experience in managing Azure, it will look exactly the same when you have an EPLDT Azure account. It's also connected to Azure public regions, meaning if you have certain applications deployed in our Azure stack in the Philippines, you could actually connect it to public resources
also available in Azure. So for example, there are certain tools which are not yet available in the stack that you could still use via Azure Public.
So in terms of what happened in our country now in 2020, of course we have the Taal volcano, we have different earthquakes, and we're now battling COVID-19 via this ECQ. So why consider cloud in terms of getting your BCDR needs? So first one is of course it's offsite by nature. So it means that the servers are not inside your premises or not inside your offices.
So for example, if you don't have access to your office today and you have a down server, it will not be a problem if it's deployed in the cloud. So in terms of our cloud deployment, it's actually deployed in our Vitra data center, and we still have employees there who could help access the physical servers. But in terms of accessing the servers for you, you have a user interface. You could do it online, and you could freely add or subtract servers as needed via that user interface. And you could of course access your data inside those servers.
Then the next one, it's virtually unlimited capacity, meaning you could add resources as needed as soon as you have an Azure account by EPLDT. In a few minutes, in just a few clicks, you could actually create new servers, new storage arrays. So based on exactly what is needed by your company. Then there's an ability to build around the data.
So there's ability to build around the data. So as mentioned earlier, there are different platforms. Once you've put in your data, depending on your need, there are different tools and platforms that you could use to make sure you could manage your data well.
And of course, there's a redundancy of data. In Azure actually, or in most of the cloud providers, as a data that you upload, there is actually given three virtual copies to make sure that even if a physical server fails, there's another copy in another server of the provider. Then of course we have security of data. So it's both physical security, meaning how our Viter data center is secured, and of course logical security in terms of the solutions that we provide to make sure that your data is secure. So three key things for DR. So one is in deploying it in the cloud, it's easier to scale. So meaning if you have bigger data, let's say by next week you need bigger data to back up, it's easier to add the resources. Unlike if you do this physically, you need to procure servers, you need to wait for the servers to be delivered in your office before you could actually implement the DR solution. Then you only pay for what is used because it's cloud. There's no need to duplicate the existing platform. The usual DR practice is that you have two servers, wherein you have a prod server, and then you copy it to another physical server. So with the cloud solution, you don't need to actually duplicate the existing one. And then of course it's easy to add new workloads when you're in a cloud.
Since you have a user interface readily available, you could access that user interface via online. So you could easily add workloads via just a few clicks and a few minutes. It could be easily added as a new workload to back up right away.
So in terms of leveraging on Azure tools for BCDR, the first one is archiving data in Azure. So of course, there's a lot of types of data, but there are types of data that you don't really need to access or to edit every single day. So for those types of data, what's best is to just archive it to an Azure storage. So there are also different types of Azure storage. Whether the data is a cold data that you don't really need to access, or it's a hot data wherein you need access from time to time. So it really depends on what you need. We also have Azure Backup. So Azure Backup is a tool innate in the Azure platform. So it's a tool for backing up production environments and in physical servers. So if you have servers in running Windows, running VMware or virtual machines, or even applications, so we could actually back it up to Azure directly. So it's scalable and it's encrypted to make sure that the data is secure. So when disaster strikes, what do we usually do? So first is we need to have we need to retrieve the data if we have a backup of that data. And then the second problem is we need to restore it somewhere. So for example, we need a physical server to where to restore it. Another question is if the storage will be enough in terms of restoring what we backed up. Then if the power or cooling inside our office will actually be able to power up the new servers that we need to restore. So those are the common questions that we need to ask when we're about to restore our retrieved data. Then the next one is RPO and RTO. RPO stands for Recovery Point Objective, and RTO is Recovery Time Objective. So RPO is the last successful backup. So let's say you do backups daily. So let's say you do it every 8 a.m. or every 12 midnight. So that's the last successful backup. Then the recovery time objective is the amount of time that your business could survive without that data or without that specific application. So this is different from one company or one organization from the other. So, for example, a certain organization could actually live without that specific application or data within 3 days or so. But of course, it really depends on the organization's policies. Then the last tool is Azure Site Recovery. So once we've backed up the data from Azure Backup, what we could actually do is recover it already in Azure. So instead of looking for another physical hardware to drop off what we already backed up, we could actually implement the applications, the data, the databases already backed up through Azure. So you know, no need to purchase new servers, no need to procure new storage servers, or no need to check if the power cooling of your office could still power up these physical servers. So what EPLDT actually offers is we offer two things. So this is the first one. We offer free infrastructure assessment. So this is to make sure that you see which specific workloads could actually be uploaded already to the cloud, which specific workloads you have don't have BCDR solutions, for example, that are critical to running your organization. So with just let your relationship managers know if you are interested for this infrastructure assessment, and we could actually discuss this further with your respective organizations. Aside from the free assessment, we also provide a free trial of Azure resources. So we provide 60-day trials now during the ECQ period. So for clients to really have a look and feel of deploying their workloads inside Azure. And then later on, we could discuss if you want to continue or proceed with deploying your production environments inside Azure, either publicly or our Azure stack inside our Vitro Makati data center. So that's it actually for my presentation. So always remember that when disaster strikes, your infrastructure should be ready, and just let me know if you have. We could proceed with the question and answer portion.
Thank you very much, Arlon. So essentially, you're saying in cloud, since it's in not in the regular or on-premise facilities of our customer, it will enable them to be able to continue accessing and managing their applications or services, IT services.
Yes, correct, Alvin. So for the organizations that encountered problems during the ECQ, not able to access their physical servers in, let's say, in certain premises or in certain offices. So this is not a problem with going to the cloud, because in the cloud you just have a portal wherein there's a user interface, and could actually see the performance of the servers, if the servers are up, if the servers are having problems or having capacity issues, and you could easily do or access these servers via that user interface.
Okay, thank you. I have a question here. How can we help our customers identify whether their services or their applications are fit for a cloud infrastructure, and which ones are better for an on-premise setup?
Mhm. Okay, so in terms of the actual assessment, so we use different tools actually. So we deploy different tools in the servers of our clients when we do the free assessment, and then from there we look at the different applications if these applications are already ready for cloud, because there are still applications that are still not cloud ready. So those applications we still need to deploy in the client's premise. So it's either we run these applications with our client to provide them an end-to-end assessment, or they could provide an inventory of their current or existing infrastructure, and then we could help them from there.
Okay. You also mentioned regarding RPO and RTO. How is that relevant in defining backups or policies for our customers?
Mhm. Yeah. So in terms of RPO and RTO, because what's critical for organizations is to make sure that the data is available when needed. So they need to identify the RTO. Let's say, for example, it's a 4 hours. So from there, we will be able to create a solution that that will make their data available right away after 4 hours.
I see.
Mhm.
Okay.
Good morning.
Um, Hi. Yes,
Good morning.
sir.
Yeah.
Can
Yes,
you
I have a question.
state your name and the organization you represent?
My name is Ben Traso from Philippine Statistics Authority.
Hi, sir. Good
Yeah.
morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Yeah, sir. My question is, your discussion is about disaster recovery site. Yes, your topic.
Mhm.
But my question is, can we use your platform as a business continuity site? Can we
Yes,
use
sir.
it as business? Mm.
Mhm.
So there will be no downtime. So and it will have an asynchronous updating almost every day.
So we could actually do that, sir. But
Yes.
having no downtime will incur bigger costs. So as you decrease
Yes. Yeah.
the RTO, you increase the cost.
Yeah. So we can have a load balancing. Another term, say, load balancing. So if ever we can use as a not only as a backup, it's a business continuity. So whenever there is a disaster, there will be no load, no downtime. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
By the way, sir, thank you very much for that question. I'd like to turn you over to our next presenter. Our next presenter is the Business Development Manager for Data Center Services. Please all welcome Rizel Raganit.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's healthy. Everyone's having a productive quarantine period. My name is Rizal, and I am the business continuity. I am the business development manager for the data center category. So, allow me to share my PowerPoint. I'm here to discuss with you one of the most basic yet fundamental business continuity solutions that we have, and this is the Vitra disaster recovery sites. So I'll go on first by defining what a Vitra disaster recovery seat is. So again, as I've mentioned, this is a very basic and fundamental solution. No? So basically, it's an alternative space for when the primary site is unavailable because of a disaster. So as we all know, there are different types of disasters. So there could be man-made disasters, which could be like fires or civil unrest, and then there are natural disasters, which are like earthquakes, typhoons, flooding, etc. So any type of business or any type of organization need to consider these types of disasters. No, whenever they craft their own business continuity program, and having an alternative space which you can swing to or you can go to in case your primary site is affected by these disasters is actually one of one of the basics, in any business continuity program. So those are DR seats. As you can see there in the photo, it's really just it's a real estate basically, wherein your people can go to. It's a safe and secure place where your people can go to in times of disaster. So apart from the DR seats, we can also offer backup software. We can actually bundle this with Azure, the solution previously discussed by Arlon, and also media management, or what we call tape vaulting. So there are basically two types of DR seats, depending on the manpower or the functions of the manpower that you will be deploying to the site. So number one is the dedicated seat, and the number two is the shared seat. So the dedicated seats are basically the more premium type of seat. So these are workstations that are dedicated and assigned to a single client, and it guarantees a 24/7 seat availability. So this means that the seat is saved for you. So whatever time of the day that the disaster occurs, you will be assured that you have seats reserved for you in our DR site. And then the next one is the more economical variant, and this is the shared seat. So these are workstations wherein several clients share the same seat. Now, this option does not guarantee seat availability, because invocation is based on a first come first served basis. Now, depending on your business continuity program, you can actually have a mix of both. You can have both shared and dedicated seats. So, for example, you can have your less critical manpower assigned to the shared seats and have your most critical manpower assigned to your dedicated seats. So this is just a type of, or this is just a model that we propose to our clients, so that you could maximize, of course, your budget, in terms of investing, if it's shared or if it's dedicated. Now I'm going to move on to the maximum invocation. So we call whenever a client goes to our site and uses their seats, we call that invocation. So for dedicated seats, we have a maximum of 30 days per year. So you can use your dedicated seats in a span of 30 days if a disaster happens. Well, for shared seats, it really depends on the number of seats that you want to subscribe to. It depends on the number of test days that you want to subscribe to and the number of actual days. Now, test days are used for business continuity dry runs. So, for example, you're simulating a disaster and you need to have your people, and part of the simulation is having your people go to the DR site. So you can use a test days there. And then for actual days, these are days when an actual disaster happens. Now, in terms of inclusions, for dedicated seats, of course, we will be providing the furniture needed, the tables and the chairs, and LAN cabling, and also the portable UPS. For shared seats, we will be providing the shared workstations, the shared portable UPS, shared desktops, and shared printer, landline, and fax machines, and also photocopiers. Now, dedicated seats are highly customizable, so it really depends on your business continuity program. Should you need partition walls? Should you need biometrics, etc., CCTVs? We can customize that for you. While for shared seats, it's not customizable. Now, we just require a minimum seat count of 5 seats for dedicated and 5 seats for shared, with a minimum of 5 days subscription. That's for shared seats. So those are the variants of the DR seats. Now I'm going to move forward to our flagship disaster recovery site, which is the one in Clark. I hope some of you guys were able to join us during the launch last, I believe, October or November. So this is situated right beside Vitro Clark. Vitro Clark is the biggest data center in the north. So I hope you guys were able to visit Vitro Clark before the ECQ happened. If not, you can reach out to your relationship manager so they can send you the site tour video that we prepared for you guys. So I'm gonna continue. So the Vitro Clark Disaster Recovery Facility is actually 192 meters above sea level. So in terms of flooding, we have no problem with that. It has a maximum seat capacity of 2,366. So if you need expansion, we have enough space for you to expand your seats should you have more manpower to deploy in our site. It's a dedicated five-story building. So we do not share the building with other enterprises. This is really PLDT owned. And in terms of power redundancy, it's the same with our data center. We have an N plus one genset configuration. So we can say that in terms of power redundancy, this is very much at par with our data centers. It's also seismic zone 4 compliant, so it means that we can withstand earthquakes of up to intensity 8. And we also provide 24 by 7 customer support and physical security. And we also have other facilities such as parking space, pantry, and conference rooms that your people, our clients who subscribe to the DRCs can use. So this is, again, I'd like to reiterate that this is strategically located beside Vitro Clark. So as I mentioned earlier, the DR seat is one of the fundamental elements of any business continuity site. Obviously, you would need a space you could go to if your office or if your headquarters is not accessible because of disasters. Now, a more complete business continuity program is that if you have your critical systems replicated and backed up in a reputable data center, such as Vitro Clark. So the ideal scenario here is that an enterprise would have their critical systems backed up in Vitro Clark and would subscribe to a DR seat beside Vitro Clark, so that the critical systems co-located in Vitro Clark can be accessed by the critical manpower who will use the DR sites. So that's one type of use case or one type of scenario that we are pitching to our clients, so that they could have the basics of business, of a strong business continuity program. Now I'm going to talk about the location. So again, it's beside Vitro Clark. It's footsteps away from the main highway. It's near a hotel. It's near a hospital. It's very near. It's 2 kilometers from the airport, 1 kilometer from the business park, and on a good day, 2 to 3 hour drive from Manila. So Clark it has a safe distance from Metro Manila, but at the same time, it's still very much accessible. So it's really a good place for enterprises and organizations to consider, whenever they're building their business continuity program. So now I'm gonna show you our Vitro site. We've developed our Vitro DR site. So we've developed a site tour video for you guys. Of course, because of the ECQ, we can't really invite you to go there yet. So for now, this is how we'll show you the facility. So that's our flagship D2DR site, which is located in Clark. Now we also have another DR site within the metro. It's right beside Vitro Makati. So the one along Luposo. So this is again strategically located beside our Vitro data center. So this site is PESA accredited. It is 11 meters above sea level, and we have a maximum seat capacity of 1,625. It has around 6 layers of security. It's a dedicated two-story building. And in terms of power redundancy, it's also at par with Vito Makati, which has an N+1 genset configuration. It's also seismic zone for compliance, and we also offer 24/7 customer support and physical security, and of course, we also have parking spaces, meeting rooms, and pantries to be provided to our DRC clients. Now, apart from those two sites, we will also be launching very soon our first ever disaster recovery site in Cebu. So, unfortunately, because of the ECQ, the construction was, temporarily halted. But we're hoping that as soon as the quarantine is lifted and it's already safe to redeploy our workers there, we will continue building the VR facility. So hopefully we can launch this within Q2. It has a smaller seat capacity, around 104. It's located at the fifth floor of Vitro Cebu. So you can see here a little pattern, no? So we are really ensuring that the seats are near, or it's very near our data center. Again, this is because any type of business continuity program would be, again, an alternative site that you could go to, and of course, a reliable backup for your critical systems. Now, I'm just going to share, this will be my last slide. I'm going to share with you an ongoing promo that we have. We understand that enterprises and organizations are really having a hard time to mobilize their people. No? As a lot of our enterprise clients would want to sign up to DR seats already, but they can't because, of course, they're operating on a skeletal floor. So basically, this promo caters to those clients. So our clients, you guys can sign up to and subscribe to our DR seats until April 30, and you can reserve your DR seats and have the option to mobilize and activate your seats at a later time. So we don't usually allow reservations for our solutions, but since this is really an extraordinary time, and we really want to help enterprises, suit up for any future disaster that's going to happen. So we are allowing clients to sign up now and maybe mobilize on a later date. So assuming that, for example, if the ECP will be lifted by end of the month, you guys can mobilize come June and be billed in July. But if, for example, a certain client would want to invoke their seats already, say they are part of if they are part of the industry that the government allows to go to work, we allow invocation, and they can mobilize their seats even earlier. Say they could mobilize in May, and then they will be billed the following month. So there are just some terms and conditions. Of course, you have to submit the signed proposal by April 30. It's applicable to both shared and dedicated seats, a minimum of 5 seats, and of course, a minimum subscription of 12 months. So currently, our Vitro Makati has an available dedicated seat count of 200, and we have a shared seat count of 50. And for Clark, we have the available seats that we have in place ready for occupancy is 150, and we have a shared seat count of 50. So of course, we are already planning our expansion for both sites, no, because really a lot of enterprises are inquiring about this solution. So If you're interested to know more about the product, please about the promo and our products, please do reach out to your relationship manager, or you can email me directly. My email is reganit, RAGANIT @pldt.com. So basically, that's my last slide. We can move forward to the FAQs.
Thank you very much, Rizel. I have a few questions from the audience. I have a question from Sir Butch. What if the disaster recovery site is the one affected by a force majeure? Does it also have its own DR site? I guess he's asking if they're subscribed to a certain location, perhaps in Makati, and it's affected by, let's say, for example, a disaster, or it's within an area of disaster. Can they avail of, let's say, the DR seats in our other sites?
Yes, of course, we really don't know. There's really so much uncertainty, and as much as, and we assure our clients that we have really taken all the possible steps to have the building, to have a resilient facility and have a resilient and redundant facility. But if that happens, of course, by contract, no, we will of course find an alternative site for you guys. So we have other sites. We have a site in Clark, and we also have a couple of seats in Vitro Pasig. So if for some reason Vitro Makati is not accessible, we can relocate you to our other DR sites.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rizel. Well, noted on your comment, Sir Butch, regarding the location of our DR facilities. I have another question from Sir Arvin. How can they use the seat lease facility if we have a lockdown? Can you provide clients with pass or permits?
Yes. So first, we really want to abide by what the government is, mandating. So whenever there are inquiries about that, we refer to the released memorandum of the government of what what industries are allowed to function. So first, we would ask, of course, our clients to of course check that first if they are really allowed to use if they are really allowed to go outside and function. But if they are allowed to do so, then I believe we can release. Actually, we have one use case. I will just not share. I will not share who the client of the court is, but we have one use case wherein our client is using their DR site during the quarantine period. So they were able to use their DR site before the quarantine was implemented, and even during the quarantine was implemented. So I believe they have their own business continuity protocols. No, so they were able to abide by those, and they were able to marry it with our security protocols. So I think what they did there is that they arranged their own transport to and from the disaster recovery site, and we were able to isolate their path going to their DR site, no, inside the building. So only those people, or only those clients are allowed to access that certain path going to the building. So this is some of the protocols that we did during the.
Okay, thank you very much, Rizal. Another question is, do we have an idea on where are we planning to put up our next DR sites? So our customers are already aware that we have in Makati, we have in Clark, we also have our flagship in Pasig, and then of course we have in Cebu. But there are customers that are asking if, let's say, for example, are we planning to put up another site in Iloilo? Do we have an information on that right now?
Basically, as I've mentioned, we sort of have a formula. So we really want to make sure that our DR sites are placed beside our data centers. So I believe internally we are trying to explore other sites. So nothing final yet, nothing final yet, but we are exploring maybe putting up another site in Parañaque within the compound of Tito Parañaque. But again, this is still at an exploratory stage. It really depends on if we see that there's merit in putting another site within Metro Manila.
Thank you again, Rizal. And I would like to turn you over now to our business development manager for Managed IT Services and Platforms, Justine Garcia, and together with her, the business development manager for professional services. Or is it Justin Garcia and Rowie Jane Santa Ana?
Hi, Sir Alvin. I believe there was a confusion lang, no? I'm the business development manager for professional services.
Okay,
and
sorry.
Rowie will handle managed IT
Okay,
services.
so who's
and
going first,
platforms.
Rowie?
Rowie,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
All right. Okay, Rowie. All right.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're still with me. So I hope you are all healthy. We are all healthy and fine. So good morning. My name is Rowie Jane Santa Ana, Business Development Manager from Manage IT, and today I'll be discussing the services that we are currently offering. Wait, let me share you my presentation. So last March 7, Philippines is diagnosed that we have a positive case of coronavirus. And as of today, as a current state situation, it is announced that Philippines is under a COVID-19 outbreak. By that, our government implements a work from home policy in almost all of the companies in the Philippines. Enhanced community quarantine is also mandated by our government to fight the spread of COVID-19. And with this scenario, therefore, there is a gradual shift on how we do our daily operations, how we do our daily basis. So different situational concerns and impacts are being arise, like impacts in delivering our work. Gatherings, meetings, large gatherings, meetings, events, and human interaction are being replaced by our IT platforms, making sure that these IT platforms with the likes of server storage and networks are readily available to adapt with this kind of work delivery so that we can collaborate through internal, virtual, and online meetings to respond to our own duties and jobs. Next is we promote uptime of our network and infrastructure, wherein by this one, we create innovations with our resources that we currently have. As a sample of this is the website, our own websites, wherein we posted a real-time updates about the situation of our nation. And by that, we create a different impact to our nation, making sure that the news and messages that we wanted to convey to our people are being delivered well and factual. So by these situational concerns and impacts that we have for with this situation that we are facing right now, I believe that our EPLDT managed IT services can help you more with maintaining your infrastructure to deliver these working scenarios that we are facing. So what is EPLDT services offering? We offer proactive monitoring services wherein EPLDT will provide you a 24/7 monitoring alert. We will also provide you a proactive alerts set by performance threshold. We will do also a multi-vendor coordination so that your IT team can focus more on delivering their work. A subject matter recommendation is also provided complementing to your IT team so that the respond or the troubleshooting of your infrastructure will be very much easier. Of course, we support an on-premise machines, co-located machines, virtual machines, and cloud instances. With all those deliverables of these services, these are some of the customers' benefits that I think very much relevant. So it's a multi-brand support into a consolidated dashboard. So meaning that whether it is on Cisco, HP, Dell, or other brands, uh, the monitoring would be very much consolidated into a single pane
Paano
of
ka rin
glass.
mag-adobo ng baboy?
It is fact-based
Para
record,
kapag nag-adobo ng
not
baboy.
only
Pag sinamahan nyo lang
fact-based,
lahat.
but also a real-time updates of your infrastructure wherein you can extract those records also for you to strategize and to budget for your future enhancement or for your infrastructure's future enhancement. Short shortens the mean time to repair because of our SME's recommendation, and of course what is the most important here is to promote the uptime so that we can avert the unforeseen downtime of your infrastructure, because every downtime of our infrastructure, we believe that it is a total loss of revenue. I just cite some of the customer benefits, but I believe there's a lot more benefits that these services will give you or will provide you. So by that, for you to have hands-on and actual experience of these services, we are giving a 200K worth of POC for 2 months. It's free. Charges are all waived. It's worth 200K. So let us know lang. If you wanted to enroll your machines, if you wanted to monitor your machines, please let us know. I think your organization will very much appreciate it if you will have a hands-on experience to this one. I'm going down to my last slide, I think. So my name is Rowie Jane Santa Ana, Development Manager under Managed IT Services. My email address and phone number is there. So guys, if you find that this services is very much complementing with your organization or it helps your infrastructure, please let me know. I'll be very much happy to assist you or to give you an assessment, your infrastructure and assessment, so that we can work on your infrastructure's enhancement. I think that's my last slide. So do we have any questions on the chat box, sir?
Thank you, Rowie. Right now, I don't have any questions, but I have a few that were sent to me. Is there a minimum for a customer to avail, perhaps a number of servers or applications? Is there a minimum number of equipment that they should be subscribing before we can provide the service?
Actually, that's a very good question, Sir Alvin. Minimum numbers of elements or machines that you need to enroll to avail this service. There's no minimum. You can enroll kahit isa lang, sir. Kahit isang element, kahit isang machine lang to monitor, it's okay. So there's no minimum machines needed to be enrolled for you to get the service.
Okay. And right now, how many people do we have to support this service?
Actually, we have people who will do the implementation as well, the delivery, and we have the support services team wherein they are on a 24/7 basis. Manpower are around 30 persons who can support 24/7 shifting.
Okay, thank you very much, Rowie.
Thank you, Sir Alvin.
Are there any other questions from our viewers? If none, I'd like to turn you over to Justin, the Business Development Manager for Professional Services. Justin?
Hi, Sir Alvin. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Rowie. Thanks, Sir Alvin. Thank you, everyone, for having me. I'm Jazz Garcia. I'm the Business Development Manager for Professional Services, and I'll be talking about data privacy consulting. Let me just share my screen. To begin, as much as everyone's been said, and it's pretty clear naman, there's been enhanced community quarantine and organizations have turned to work from home operations, frontline operations, lockdown operations, and even some have come to a halt or reduced down to skeletal and even emergency operations. Some have even opted for a mix of or a combination of all these four operations. And really, everyone's persisting now, and we deeply appreciate, thank, and give praise to our heroes who persist and continue to serve the nation in whatever way they can. So I think in line with One With You, the spirit of continuity and service is really about persisting together, or simply put, bayanihan. And I'd like to thank everyone who's come here and continuing to work. So moving forward, in this pursuit of continuity and productivity, we've already learned to better our ECQ experiences, no? So we're now in the process of learning how to merge our physical engagements and virtual platforms. And we've learned to improve our delivery services. There's been a rise in online concerts, online mass, public webinars, social media, streaming to fend off our boredom during these times. So everyone's coming together to improve our ECQ experiences through virtual platforms. And on a more serious note, we've also learned how to enhance our productivity. Does everyone commute ba or ano? I think we were realizing the value of telecommute solutions where we don't have to sit in traffic all day, and we have more engagements, more client meetings, and more internal meetings as well. And this has also called for more resilient infrastructure and even resilient operations. That's why I believe that services from the communications, from the collaborations, and continuity platforms that we provided earlier are very relevant now, no? And all of this has really helped us create more time and allowed us for more focus during our operations. But not everything's fine and dandy, We've also introduced higher vulnerability to privacy negligence, security breaches, and hacking. Everything's still new to us, We're all transitioning. So these are a few of the risks that we're currently facing in terms of privacy negligence, security breaches, and hacking. When we've turned to e-signatures and approvals that can be forged when you have client engagements and they haven't really approved, or there can be misunderstandings when you're facing virtually, Some companies have also turned to online meeting and online collaboration platforms that are unsecured, where people have access and people are more vulnerable to cybersecurity threats and attacks. And to some, we've also turned to the use of our personal devices in line with business continuity, and even the use of unmanaged networks now. Some individuals may use a business laptop and a personal laptop, while some others may be using the same laptop for personal and business use, which we're still learning now, moving towards business continuity with virtual platforms, is that we're still learning how to define the borders between business and personal. And that's where new threats can arise in terms of third parties or unwanted members, unwanted personnel to access information that they should not be. And with all of this happening right now, IT teams have been decentralized and even reduced to skeletal forces. And while they're struggling to mobilize everyone to this new setup of work. And so this is the reason why I say having a strong data privacy practice is relevant now. Organizations must prevent mishandling of information during ECQ. It's this time of remote coordination and minimal monitoring that really gives new risks and vulnerabilities to data privacy breaches. So the few acts of negligences we're trying to avoid really is unauthorized data processing and use, negligence of disposal, and unauthorized disclosure to third parties and others. So these are a few, but why is this so important? Because the penalties for each of the charges can range from 500,000 to 4 million pesos per charge per person involved. And the imprisonment charges for each one can range from 1.5 years of imprisonment to 7 years per person per charge, which is really drastic. But beyond the numbers and charges and the legislation, what's really at risk about when data breaches happen? Simply put, for government organizations, it's really about trust. And because trust defines relationships and confidence in our government services to succeed. When there is less trust, the more difficult it is for us to serve and lead the constituents and employees successfully moving forward, and even especially during these difficult times. So in the business of trust us. In any case, whether your organization has a data protection officer or not, you can avail of our data privacy consulting suite during and after enhanced community quarantine. So the two products under this data privacy consulting would really be DPA Compliance Consulting Suite, where we provide guidance on the foundations of data privacy compliance, as well as data privacy retainership services for whenever you have an existing data privacy management system, and we can offer remote consulting man hours for you. So diving deep into DPA Compliance Consulting Suite now, this is where we ensure compliance beyond documentation by employing EPLDT IT business consultants to establish policies, at least to help you guys establish sustainable policies, processes, and practices throughout this journey and even moving forward as we adapt new iterations of our operations around our data privacy. And EPLDT actually employs three key frameworks: the NPC, National Privacy Commission's 32-point checklist, which can be simplified to the 5 pillars of compliance; EPLDT's own compliance framework, which we've developed throughout these years; and our own agile and the agile methodologies that most IT companies use to ensure fast delivery of services. So with regards to NPC's 5 pillars of compliance, how can our data privacy consulting suite help? With pillar 1, assigning a data protection officer, we help the company create a job description fit for the company, training plans, as well as the data processing activities and systems needed by that data protection officer to create sustainable programs moving forward. And in terms of visibility, for pillar 2, we're also able to help the company create a comprehensive privacy impact assessment with inventories, flow analysis, data classification matrix, and gap analysis and reports. And after that, we're also able to create policies, privacy management plans, privacy principle securities, and data breach notifications to help set up the documentation for your data privacy needs. So whether you have a data protection officer right now, you can consider having EPLDT data privacy consultants review and remediate any gaps in your data privacy efforts in light of any emergency activities and future organizational adjustments. Should you be considering digital platforms moving forward? How are you integrating work from home as an option for operations moving forward, and the like? So we're helping you create data privacy fit for the company to adapt to the new normal as well. And if you don't have data protection officer and you don't have any set degree of compliance or just a minimal degree of compliance to DPA, we can help you guide your first steps in creating data privacy culture for all the 5 pillars for unexpected situations. And as mentioned kanina, we combine the 3 key frameworks of NPCs, the 3 key frameworks to create services that are fast, complete, and effective. So with data privacy consulting, compliance consulting, we're able to implement full project delivery for the 5 pillars within just 12 weeks and can extend to up to 4 months for any customer dependencies as a buffer. We're also able to create a complete and flexible package for the company, depending on what pillars you guys need help on. So if you already have a data privacy officer in place and you want to move forward with that, we can also help you move forward and not start from zero. And we're also ensuring that your data privacy initiatives are sustainable. It's not just overloaded on the data privacy officer, since the responsibility of data privacy isn't just the responsibility of one person, but the entire organizations. And moving forward, you already have a data privacy management system now and even in the future, we also offer data privacy retainership services where we can allocate monthly consulting hours with our team for any help needed in terms of creating impact assessments, policy crafting, process refinements, and other privacy initiatives. And to cap it off, continuity and service needs trust. And in this business of trust, simply trust us when it comes to data privacy consulting. And if you wish to avail of EPLDT data privacy consulting, please contact your PLDT Enterprise Relationship Manager. And that's been it for me. I'm Jazz Garcia, Business Development Manager for Professional Services. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jazz. I have a question sent to me by text. Can you expound more on the relevance of data privacy, especially on the context of COVID?
Yeah, sure. I believe maybe I can give a couple of scenarios now. So one is with all these things happening with work from home, halt or skeletal operations, and with the convergence of physical engagements and virtual platforms for business continuity, let's say key personnel or management teams or high level personnel have access to information databases that are sensitive. And because of our current work situations where we're now more vulnerable to cybersecurity threats, such as phishing and ransomware, unwanted people can have access to this personal information that is sensitive. And Also, maybe another fact is if you don't have any digital work setups just yet, you have paper forms right now, and you currently join a meeting and you accidentally divulge certain information in that meeting, or course through a picture and you send the wrong image. And when these data privacy breaches happen, it's really important that your organization has breach management systems in place to mitigate the impact for your for your organization as well as your clients. So it's really about damage control and fast remediation of that breach. Hope that gives light to the relevance of it.
Yeah, thank you. Now, a lot of organizations still see data privacy as a compliance initiative. And in most cases, budgets and efforts towards compliance with data privacy takes a backseat. Now, of course, the penalties by the Privacy Commission is very strict and very high. How can we help organizations that has almost zero knowledge or zero resources when it comes to starting their data privacy journey?
So can we simplify the question? Sorry, Sir Alvin. So what are the first steps? How could you kickstart the journey?
So there's very little knowledge on data privacy. Of course, they don't have any data privacy officer. So how can we help these organizations start their compliance with data privacy?
Yes. Okay. If you currently don't have a data protection officer now, the best place to start is really with documentation from the NPC. I believe the website is privacy.gov.ph, and you can refer to the compliance checklist required by the National Privacy Commission with regards to compliance. So there's further detail there regarding assigning a data protection officer. How can you create a privacy impact assessment? In terms of mobilizing this, there's actually little complications, but it's a matter of how comprehensive in detail and coverage your privacy efforts are. So it's simple to say that you have a data privacy protection officer, but the responsibilities of that person has to be clearly defined on black and white. And that's really where our services can help and where you can consult your experts as well. But the basics are laid out also in the National Privacy Commission's website for any reference materials.
Okay, thank you very much, Jazz. I think some of our customers are asking for you to share the contact details. I think they have.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I can share my screen again and.
Or you can share it in the chat group.
Yes.
You can share it in the chat.
Screenshot pa.
Are there any other questions from our viewers? If none, I'd like to turn you over to Ms. Joy Hilao for her closing remarks.
Thank you.
Okay. Final instructions po. All the materials will be posted on the chat group this afternoon. And for the materials used for Wednesday and Thursday, they're in the chat group, and our team will be sending them to you also on your emails. If there are no more questions, thank you again. Joy Hilao from PLDT Enterprise. Stay safe and God bless you all. Thank you.